I got one idea that I'm especially psyched out of my mind about. You know, it's one of those ideas where you're just like, yes!
Dave? Dave Flynn?
On the radio!
Hold on to your butts.
Hey there, welcome to Dave Flynn on the Radio, the #1 blogcast on the internet. I'm Dave Flynn, and since reading is hard, I'm going to do it for you. All right, here we go. Part 3 of The Plus, our 5-part series on artificial intelligence. And I hope I've piqued your curiosity just a bit. I hope you've started dipping your toe in the water, chatting with some robots, some LLMs, automating a task or two. Maybe, just maybe, you've got your eye on one of those actual George Jetson home robots that'll be hitting living rooms in the next year or so. It's happening. Are you ready? Last week, we teased that humans still have a role to play, a specific role to play, and today we'll get into it first with a classic brain teaser, the 9-dot test. If you've never done it, now is the time. Then we will discuss a trap that, well, a lot of us fall into, what I call the train kid. And the last thing we'll go over are just a few questions you can ask yourself to see if you're slipping into obsolescence. You don't want that. You can find more stories and essays like this over at winwithflynn.com. But if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's jump into the show. The Plus, Part 3, Keep Diverging. LLMs are convergent thinkers. They take a problem and they find the most probable answer, average the inputs, smooth out the edges, and hand back something that is likely to satisfy the user without ruffling any feathers. It's running a statistical probability inside of its existing data. Humans, at our best, we do the opposite. We diverge. We break the frame. There's a study from the University of Sydney where researchers gave participants the famous 9-dot puzzle. Before you keep reading, you should definitely try it yourself. All you need, 9 dots in a 3x3 grid. The rules: connect all 9 dots using 4 straight lines without lifting your pen. Ready, go. Do you need a hint? Think outside the box. Literally, that is your hint. Think outside the box. What box? Well, most people invent one. They see the 9 dots, they see the grid, and they unconsciously draw a square around them. They invent a rule where none exists. Now, spoiler alert, if you're following along on the blog, the solved puzzle is right there for you to behold. In the control group, nobody solved it. Now, I find that hard to believe, but I've never been to Sydney. But then, the researchers used transcranial direct current stimulation to temporarily suppress the brain's top-down filters, the rules-following part. And with those fictional rules removed, 40% of participants solved the puzzle. That is a big improvement. Now, the puzzle didn't change. The rules did not change. People just stopped obeying that boundary that never really existed. I gave the puzzle to my kids. My son, he eventually solved it with that same hint, think outside the box. But the thing I noticed wasn't whether the kids got the answer, it was how long they were willing to sit with it. My daughter wanted the puzzle and the hint in quick succession, but then she also wanted the answer. My son, he was a little more patient. He wanted the hint, of course, and then disappeared. And he noodled. He came back with a few failed versions. He broke the rules once or twice. That's a good thing in this scenario. went back to the drawing board, and eventually found the answer. This was no shock to me. My daughter is type A with straight A's, and my son is divergent as all hell. The frame breaks. The boundary disappears when you sit with a problem long enough. But in the modern world, we're trained against sitting with problems. Every unanswered question feels intolerable. So we say, hey, Siri. But the robots, they can't sit with it either. They answer too quickly to wander. Humans have an advantage there. We wander. We stare out the window. We circle a problem for 3 days. We get stuck long enough for something unexpected to happen. LLMs can't break frames. They've got no neurobiology. They don't get bored. They don't wander. They don't have any long, quiet incubation periods where unrelated ideas suddenly collide. They are built to stay inside those lines as they automate convergent work, and they will, more and more, the human edge is going to become a different kind of work, the lateral spark, the connection nobody saw. Now, the term soft skill is a 1960s era Army term. The military separated training into two buckets: hard skills, meaning anything that involved operating a piece of metal, tanks and guns and radios and vehicles. Now, the soft skills were everything else: leadership, communication, reading the room, building trust. The label stuck, but notice what happened. The skills that mattered most for succeeding in any role, the social, emotional, behavioral ones, got branded as the lesser category because they didn't involve metal. Yeah, the plus is a soft skill. And like every soft skill, you've got to use it or you'll lose it. The train kid. There's a viral clip online of a teen on a subway platform helping push the train. If you haven't seen it, I recommend you go to the blog and take a look. It's wonderful. Now, he plants his hands on the side of that subway car. He leans against it with all his weight. And man, he's strong. He brings that train to a stop for the waiting riders. He holds the door open, waves them aboard, and makes sure they close securely before giving a sturdy push to the train, getting it moving towards its next destination. He brushes off his hands and walks away from the tracks. A job well done. A mission accomplished. Of course, he wasn't needed for any of it, but the kid feels the sensation of contribution, the high of usefulness and participation. Sometimes working with the robots can feel a little bit like that. The problem isn't just that they make you lazy. The problem is that they make you feel productive while being lazy. They make you feel like a centaur while you're actually the kid pushing the train. The work gets done and it gets done well, but you didn't really do it. The robot did. It's like auto-tune drift in music, or if you've heard of Instagram face, different people with different surgeons in different cities, and somehow everybody's converging towards the same cheekbones. At first, the tools smooth out the rough edges. They tighten things up, make everything a little cleaner, a little sharper, a little more optimized. Then one day, everybody sounds the same, and nobody is quite sure when it happened. I've heard editors talk about this, and their concern is a valid one. The work is all the same, they'll say. They'll take on projects with multiple different writers, and they say the writing all sounds the same because it's all been passed through LLM editors. It's been offered the same structural notes, the same suggested phrasing. The writer swears it isn't true. The writing is theirs and theirs alone. Like the frog in a pot, the temperature changed so slowly they never noticed they were cooked. The writers can't hear it anymore. They can't see how their writing coach, these AI these robots, these LLMs, has changed them over time, has changed thousands of writers as well. That's the danger. Just like the kid on the subway station, they can't tell, or they don't want to believe that they aren't actually controlling the train. Feeling productive is not the same as being productive. And feeling original is not the same as being original. The trap is making it look like work without doing the work. And that's true for the kid on the subway platform, and it might be true for your career as well. So how do you know which one you are? Well, you could ask yourself these 3 questions and try to give an honest answer without your robot. Number 1, if the AI vanished tomorrow, could you still do the work? Maybe not the same speed or volume. That's all understandable, but could you do it? If yes, then you're collaborating. Good on you. If no, you're the kid on the subway platform. Number 2, whose idea was it? Who wrote the first sentence? You before the AI saw it, or the AI before you knew what you wanted? The first version, that early draft, it needs to be your contribution. Remember in last week's post, draft first. Always draft first. Otherwise, every draft that follows is going to carry the robot's watermark. Number 3, hold your work up next to someone else's using the same tools. Can you tell them apart? If yes, then your voice survived. Congrats. If no, the tools are doing your thinking, and your work is going to blend into the background. The robots are going to keep getting better at converging. Your job is to keep diverging. There we have it. That's the pod. Thank you for listening. If you like what you hear, please share it with a friend. Give it a thumbs up. And if you've got a few extra seconds, give it a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify or wherever you are listening. The engagement will make you feel so good, and it'll help other people find the show. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
All right, there you go, America. I love you. I'm proud of you. I mean it. We gotta go. This is great.